Hello everybody and welcome back to more political chatter. In this video we are talking about Nikki Haley, the presidential candidate, and her enormous surge in the state of New Hampshire. So of course New Hampshire is the second contest of the primary process. Of course Iowa comes first. That's state many candidates target. Then comes New Hampshire. So, and then you got Nevada and then South Carolina. Maybe it's flipped, but these states, these four early states, have enormous influence on how the rest of the primary will go. If a candidate has a terrible performance in Iowa when they were expected to do great, then there's no momentum for that candidate and they will probably drop out because no one wants to vote for a candidate who doesn't have any momentum in the race, who isn't gaining support, who doesn't have any hope left in their campaign. So Nikki Haley's surge in New Hampshire, as we have seen, is absolutely enormous, as it is the second primary state, and it is so influential for all these other states, and it means that we might actually have a competitive primary here. Maybe, just maybe. Whoops, wrong tab. That's not it. So Nikki Haley, her surge is even drawing fire from Donald Trump. I mean, that's a bad thing, but it means that she's doing something right. This new poll just came out a few hours ago from St. Anselm College, shows Nikki Haley at the highest she has ever been in the state of New Hampshire. 30% to Donald Trump's 44%. Now, I find this so interesting. This entire race in New Hampshire that we've been seeing for months now. I find this New Hampshire race so interesting because when you look at this map, we are not seeing competitive races like this anywhere. Donald Trump, let me tell you, is just getting so unlucky with New Hampshire being the second primary state, because it's one of the few where a non-Trump candidate clearly actually has a chance of victory. I mean, you look at polls, Donald Trump is not just you hear how he's dominating in Iowa, in Nevada, South Carolina, kind of, and nationwide. So, you'd think there would be a few states where, he might lose. But no, Donald Trump is winning in every state right now, okay? I mean, that is true. But, even though it's getting pretty close in New Hampshire. But it's no state, barely any states are even as close as this 14-point margin in New Hampshire's. And even that's not close. But compared to all of these other states, it is incredibly close. I mean, we don't have any specific polls here, but I mean, in some of these states, like Louisiana, I saw a poll. He's leading by 60%. In Nevada, in early state, he's up by 70. He's up by 60. He has 70% or something crazy in the state of Nevada. So, by total chance, we have New Hampshire, one of the few states where a non-Trump candidate can win, because New Hampshire became very interesting following the 2016 election. It was pretty close in 2016. Let me see if I could find it here. In 2016, it was a pretty close state. Shouldn't say pretty close, extremely close state. It was decided by 0.4%. It was decided by less than a percentage point, which is very, very rare. But Hillary Clinton did come out on top. But then when you go to 2020, don't want a picture of Hillary. Sorry, Hillary. But then when you go to 2020, Biden carries the state of New Hampshire by an unexpected more than 7 percentage points. I mean, just looking at that county map compared, so much more blue. So Biden shifted the state so much to the left. But it really shows you how much these New Hampshire voters turned away from Donald Trump from 2016 to 2020. And what is also interesting is the 2016 Republican primary, in the state of New Hampshire, because Donald Trump won by a resounding, 20 percentage points, which in this case, when you have this many serious contenders, it was so much. Iowa was decided by a couple points. So in New Hampshire, Donald Trump won by so much, 20. And it totally makes sense when you think about it, and it really makes you think why it shifted away from him so much in the next 4 years. It's because New Hampshire is the live free or die state. It is because it is one of, maybe the second most behind Alaska, libertarian state in the nation. These are libertarian-minded voters here in New Hampshire, whether they're Democrat or Republican. They are pretty libertarian-minded. That's why Bernie Sanders won by 23 percentage points in the Democratic primary, and that's why Trump won by 20 in his Republican primary. Two dominating victories for the two most libertarian candidates in their respective primaries. But now, for Donald Trump, let's move on to 2024, and not 2020, obviously dominated, but moving on to 2024, he has, as now a former president, and now he's dominating everywhere, he now has a smaller lead than he won, according to polls, than he won by in 2016 in this Republican primary. That is something that must be taken into account, is that fact. The fact that Donald Trump is behind where he, at least the margin between Nikki Haley and Donald Trump is less than that of the margin he won by in 2016. So, this state, in the general election results from 2016 to 2020, and his finish in the primary in 2016 compared to where he is standing now, it definitely tells you something about how this state is turning away from Trump. Very interesting to see. Plus, in these general election polls, I just saw one from, I think it was actually the same St. Anselm poll, but it had Biden up by 10, more than he won in 2020. That's insane. But that's the topic of another video. Furthermore, the St. Anselm College poll has Haley at 30, Trump at 44, 14-point margin. CBS poll came out a couple days ago, and I didn't make a video about this because of the fact that it could have been quite an outlier. I don't like to make videos on just one single poll. But now we have two polls with an extremely similar result. A couple days ago, Haley was at 29, Donald Trump was at 44. Haley now 30, 44. Incredible similarities here. The CBS poll has DeSantis at 11, Christie at 10, Ramaswamy at 5, and Asa Hutchinson at 1. So it really does come down to a matter of these other candidates. I don't see, Nikki Haley has been gaining, taking votes away from DeSantis, Christie, Asa, the other candidates, not Vivek, but the other candidates, and that's because she has been running an extremely good campaign here. Her Chris Sununu endorsement, the governor, is paying off more than anyone could have expected. She was under 20 just before the endorsement. But Chris Sununu is so popular, not like Kim Reynolds in Iowa. That didn't help DeSantis at all because she is unpopular, she sucks, no one likes her. But Sununu, everyone loves Sununu. So she is launched up 10 percentage points to 29. And she has been slowly picking away from DeSantis. He was at like more than 30, I think. Or no, he was leading in New Hampshire at one point, actually. Now he's at 11. Such a dramatic downfall. Christie at 10. Ramaswamy at 5. Asa at 1. So she's been chipping away, slowly but surely, from each of the other 4 candidates. I mean, we could include Trump, the other 5 candidates. But honestly, if we look at the January, 29th, I think, primary, no, 23rd, the January 23rd primary, I don't think that Haley would just still be able to keep chipping away a little bit at DeSantis, Christie, and Asa and Trump to, to be able to surpass Trump. I don't think she'd be able to do that. What she needs is for candidate, S, to drop out and endorse her. Who am I talking about? Chris Christie. This poll, the St. Anselm poll, has Christie in 3rd. This is where he has been polling consistently for months now. 12%. Christie at 12. DeSantis at just 6. That's embarrassing. Ramaswamy at 5. You know it's bad when you're a point above Vivek, who started from like $98 million and 0.0% support. But with Christie's 12% and her 30%, if Chris Christie were to drop out before New Hampshire and endorse Haley, I really do believe that about 11.5% of his support, 99% of his support would go to Nikki Haley, right? So that puts, I didn't see this. Okay, interesting. But that puts, that would put Nikki Haley at 42%, Trump at 44%, 2% margin, and then you have a contest in the margin of error, and Nikki Haley can actually win this primary. So the pressure is being put on Chris Christie, but it's not really looking like he is showing signs of dropping out and endorsing Haley. Who knew Chris Christie would be this, his support would be so critical and influential in this primary process when he announced. But Christie, he did defend Haley during the debate, so at least he is comfortable with her. However, I just saw a new ad that attacked Haley and DeSantis for their poll numbers for whatever reason, even though he's behind both of them. But of course, this ad was running in New Hampshire. But it was attacking, Trump, of course, and DeSantis and Haley, saying they need to support Christie for some reason, the total opposite of what Christie needs to be doing, right? So, that doesn't make Christie look like he's dropping out. But who knows? And we also have to keep in mind, Iowa's first, not even New Hampshire. So the Iowa results are so critical. I think that DeSantis stays in, right? I think that DeSantis and Haley virtually tie for second. I wouldn't know who. I would say that Haley comes out on second, but I think that DeSantis' ego is too big. I don't think that DeSantis would drop out. I think that we can count on his 11 to 6%, let's say 8%, that 8% sticking with DeSantis. Vivek's 5% could even be critical, because, of course, he would drop out after Iowa if he did and endorse Trump. He might. I wouldn't bet on it. I would include Vivek's 5%. But then we've got Christie, because Christie is really not getting anywhere in Iowa. He has been to New Hampshire like dozens of times, but he has actually not been to the state of Iowa once this campaign cycle. And I don't think he did once in 2016 either, maybe 3 times or something. So, Iowa I don't really think will affect Christie's what Christie's decision is. And the question kind of is, does he even wait till Iowa? Because I don't think he cares about Iowa results, right? He's not really getting any caucuses there. So does he drop out between now and really New Hampshire? I don't know. It could go either way. If I really had to place a bet, I think that Chris Christie is a, you know, smart enough person to drop out, to say, okay, yeah, let us accomplish my main focus and let me endorse Haley, especially after the debate where he was, defending Nikki Haley. Shows they're very comfortable, their relationship. So I would think that Chris Christie sees his numbers, sees that with his support, Haley is in the margin of error, could win against Trump. And yeah, but that's the only chance that Haley has. I shouldn't say the only chance, but her chances, it becomes kind of a 50-50 chance if Christie endorses Haley. So Christie should take that in mind because once Haley wins New Hampshire, if she does, then you move on to South Carolina. So that and South Carolina, of course, is her home state. That's where she served as governor. So if you won New Hampshire and South Carolina, your home state is next. She is a very strong contender looking to South Carolina. And then you might have DeSantis, who's at like 12% in South Carolina. After he finishes with 8% in New Hampshire, he might actually drop out and endorse Haley after that. With that support in South Carolina, she could win her home state of South Carolina. So then you've got 2 of the 3 early states not going to Donald Trump, going into Nikki Haley. That might actually carry some momentum with her into Super Tuesday, and we have a competitive race. I don't know, just an idea. Thank you all for watching this video. Really hope you enjoyed. Very interesting stuff playing out in the Republican primary. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.